We had a patient who his goal was to get out of the hospital. He had just built his dream home and he wanted to be able to have a campfire at the home that he had just
Oh,
finished
wow.
building, which was going to be his,
Mhm.
forever home type thing. And because of hospice, we got him home. He had several, these campfires before he passed.
Mhm.
And that was another thing. It allows people to be able to do some of those things that being in a hospital, you're not going to do it on your own.
They say it's lonely at the top, but it doesn't have to be. I've spent the last 8 years embedded in our local business landscape, and I've learned one thing. Facts only tell half the story. I'm Ann Donnelly. Join me for an intimate look at the minds of the innovators and leaders shaping our region. We aren't just talking business, we're talking legacy. From the North Country Media Network, upstate New York's Voices of Authority, this is Building Success Stories, and it's time to start building yours. So I'm here today with Nick George of High Peaks Hospice, which the office is here in Hudson Falls, but you serve a much larger area.
6 counties in New York State. So,
6
yes,
counties. That's a lot of territory.
Probably the second largest geographic coverage of a hospice.
So that's huge. So you're up to Canada.
Not quite. We don't do Clinton County.
Really?
We don't go all the way.
Okay.
Clinton County.
There.
But we do Essex County and Franklin County and Hamilton County. We get into St. Lawrence County. So I guess in that regard, it could go to Canada, but we don't go that far up. And Washington and Warren.
So tell us about what High Peaks Hospice does.
High Peak Hospice has been around since 1986. It's one of the earlier hospices that were created when they came to the U.S. And it's serving the population of people who are in the last 6 months of their life. So it's what their diagnosis or prognosis has been on some debilitating disease that they've probably been living with for a while. And we're there to help get the most out of those last days that they can get.
So very often people think of a hospice as a place.
Right.
But you aren't a place.
No, we are not a place.
You are people and services. So tell us a bit about all that.
There are hospices that have facilities that are a hospice house type thing to go into. We do not. Again, partly that's because of the wide area that we cover. Where would you put a facility in all of that? So we actually, wherever people are calling home, we go to that home, whether they're in their actual home, in a nursing home, in assisted living, any number of places that they could be. We go in to take care of them where they are. And that also helps them to be where they want to be. Most people, if you talk to them, don't want to end their days in a hospital. They'd rather end it at home.
At home, yeah. Like you said, it may be an assisted living facility, depending on what the person's situation is.
Right.
And so you said it's about 6 months?
Well, the actual regulation, if you will, says if you have a prognosis of 6 months or less. Now, that's what the regulation says. If a person lasts longer than that, that's perfectly fine. They don't get kicked off of hospice. Obviously, if it's shorter than that, it's not a big deal. We've had people who have been on service for 3 years, no problem. I mean, it's just they have a slower progression of what's going on.
Yeah. And they would start getting in touch with you sooner than that because they'd want to have you in place.
That's the hope, yes. That's one of the things that I've been working on for the last 10 years is getting people to talk to us beforehand. Most people don't need hospice right now, but that's the time that you want to learn about it.
Yeah.
Because, if you're in a doctor's office and you get this diagnosis of there's nothing more we can do, there's a whole lot of things that go on in your head, a lot of fear, a lot of things. That's not the time to have to go, now what do I do? Whereas if you'd already had knowledge of what hospice is and knew that, that's a service I could use, that could be something to be helpful to me, that's where then you can go, well, now we can look at that. That doesn't mean you want to jump to it yet, but you'd at least be better off than trying to do it underneath the stress of what goes on when you get that horrible news.
So what are the services you provide?
We take care of pretty much everything. When someone uses hospice, we're kind of, if you think of it, this may be a silly analogy, but kind of like a pit crew for a racing team, right? The driver drives up and we take care of all this stuff and they get back out on whatever they're doing. So as is leading up to hospice, they're usually loved ones. There's family members that are the caregivers.
Yeah.
They're the ones taking care of their loved one. They're trying to do it. We come in and we supplement all that. We are there to help with education. This is what to expect. Family being the correct caregiver, we're the support staff that comes in. We do education. We will do pain management. Over the years, we've learned how to manage pain. So we're trying to get you comfortable. Obviously, we'll take care of wounds and stuff like that, but that's not the goal, is not that. It's making the patient comfortable so they can do the things that they're trying to do in that end period. It kind of depends on when a person comes on as well, because further back, if you just got the diagnosis or the prognosis and you come on, you can still be out doing things. We have patients that they're out shopping or canoeing or whatever.
Yeah.
And as things progress and you can't do as much, we're in the home more with them on that. We call it a circle of care. So the center is the patient. Around them is the caregivers. Around that is the hospice services, and that could be a nurse, RN, LPN. It'd be a social worker, because we're gonna talk about the psychosocial part of everything. Spiritual care specialists, because that plays into all this at this point as well. We have volunteers that can come in and help out with different things. So there's this whole circle that envelops the patient, so that they're supported and the family is supported, so that they, on the two inner circles, if you will, can focus on being together and having a quality of life as best as they can have.
Because the caregiver situation can create an awkward dynamic between a patient and a family member. Like, I've been through this too, especially if it's like a parent. It's, they sometimes would rather have somebody else do some of this care.
And that's where we can help we supplement.
And it puts such a strain on the caregiver.
Oh, it totally does.
They could have a full-time job and then still need to be giving care.
And that's what makes it so difficult, because, we're not funded to be in there 24/7. So it's not like you sign up for hospice and we're in there every day, all the time.
I was going to ask that question.
No, the funding pays for everything. So from a funding perspective, from the family, the extras that you're going to pay is if you want to bring in outside aides or whatever that you want to have in there. Because hospice, once you're on service, pays for any equipment that you have, a hospital bed, tables, chairs, wheelchairs, whatever, that type thing. All the medications that you're going to be on.
Oh, really?
So, all the things that have to do with keeping you comfortable with that, right? So usually it is narcotics. A lot of the things that we work with, because those are the things that really help with pain. But we understand them and we work with it so that it doesn't become detrimental to the person, right? As we worry about in the acute care world, I don't want to take that because I'll get addicted. We don't have to worry about that.
At this point in life, that's not a concern.
It's really more about making sure you're comfortable. And I know we've heard people that are like, oh, I don't want to use morphine because I don't want to be loopy. And the small doses to begin with, you're not.
At some point, you're going to want to.
Yes, exactly. It all depends on the pain levels, what we have to deal with off of that. So it's very interesting from the perspective of there's so many things that are so many moving parts that we're paying attention to and we're helping with, to help be that major support for these caregivers so that they can spend the time with their family. And yes, have to work a full-time job sometimes and the other things that come up.
And does a social worker help with kind of helping a family manage all of that?
Yes, in many regards. Like there are times.
Because that's very hard.
And it's cumbersome and it's confusing. And
deciding what to do.
That's why we're in there.
People have that kind of expertise.
Some of the hardest things is sometimes, say you're at home and the home situation is just not going to work. We need to go to a nursing home, a skilled nursing facility. Well, we get to sit down and work through, okay, what is needed? What do we need to do? Is it the right move? We try and help the family make that decision as well. So it isn't just a time to go, ship them off. We don't do that. In fact, that's one of the feedbacks that we get from families a lot is, we're there for you, for how you guys want it to be. That doesn't mean, as you pointed out, there isn't, conflicts that we're trying to, mitigate that.
Even with family members, because I've been, like I said, you get in the middle of all that. And cost is a major stress factor, because you want the best care, but that's often more expensive than people can manage. It's a hard decision to say, like, well, or I might have to take time off of my job kind of thing. So it's good to have people that are experienced in this to help give advice. So how many people do you have? Because you're dealing in such a large geographic area.
We have a total staff of about 50 people right now.
50.
Just shy of 50.
Mm-hmm.
And they live all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, that's one of the hassles we have as a company is people don't get to see each other because they're out about all over.
Yes.
So we actually have to create situations like we have coming up in a few weeks as an all agency. We're going to bring all the people together because there could be people that, you get together and go, oh, I've only talked to you on the phone and now I get to see you. So, because that's real in this world as well. One of the interesting things about working with people, that's what our job is helping people. Sometimes we got to spend some time helping ourselves to be the best that we can be for those people as well.
Plus, everyone has such a wealth of knowledge to be able to share that with each other.
And we do have every week we have what's called interdisciplinary team meeting. We break it up between North and South because of how big the area is. So we split our census up, but we go through every patient and people around the table are talking. And that's where they do have some conversations to say, oh, you tried that? Well, what about this? Can we do this for this person? Oh, we heard that they like this. We've had situations in the past where because of those conversations, it was a number of years ago now, but one of our doctors who was in the IDT meeting heard that one of our patients was a fiddler and he was a fiddler. So he actually went to the patient's home and fiddled. They fiddled for a while in the afternoon.
So it's nice to have that human element.
Yes, yes. There's all sorts of stories that we can, we had a patient who his goal was to get out of the hospital. He had just built his dream home and he wanted to be able to have a campfire at the home that he had just finished building, which was going to be his, forever home type thing. And because of hospice, we got him home. He had several, these campfires before he passed. And that was another thing that allows people to be able to do some of those things that being in a hospital, you're not going to do it on your own.
So that's wonderful service. So how long has High Peaks been around?
We're 40 years this year.
40 years.
Yeah, since 1986, we've been operating. Now, back in 1986, it started off in Saranac Lake. That was the group of people that had volunteered that started up there. And it stayed there for a few years, and then it started expanding because Essex County didn't have anything. Then there was a hospice down in Warren County that it was run by the county. And, as things got bigger and things got more complicated, they decided it was time. So we took over that service. So it's grown to being all the counties that we cover now.
If you're doing a good job, you get in demand.
Exactly.
And you probably find that's a bit of a stress now. Do you find that you cannot serve all the people that need you, or are you doing really well on that?
We pride ourselves on serving everyone who comes to us that qualifies, of course, because not only does the distance become, as I'm sure anyone who's seen the articles and heard the news, there's fraud all over the place. New York State is really very lucky in that the fraud rates in New York State are incredibly small because it doesn't happen. We give good care. All the hospices that I work with, all are very big on that. Even New York State is generally all not-for-profits, which probably contributes to that not being fraud as well. That doesn't make things are not difficult to try and cover all that, but we do, and we take care of the patients. Our goal here, I've always maintained since I took over, was that really we have two priorities. The first one is taking care of patients, and then every patient who gets taken care of should feel like they're the most important person in the world. Our second goal is to keep the business going, so we keep doing the first goal.
Exactly.
That's all it's all about.
That's the thing. You can have these high ambitions, but if you don't have the actual infrastructure behind that, it's not going to happen. So how do you keep the business going?
Well, there's a lot of juggling going on with different things. And that's what it is. It's about being cognizant of it and making the decisions that are what are the best for the patients. And then conversely, what are the best for the business. At one point, we had 3 offices. We had an office up in Saranac Lake. We don't maintain an office up there anymore because just with the ebb and flow of where people live, we do have staff who live there, but it's very few versus, 15 years ago, all the admin pretty much lived up there. So things change over time. So you adjust as you go along. We were lucky enough back in 2023 to be able to purchase this building. So we own this property that we're in right now. And that's a nice, permanent home for us type.
Yeah, it's good to have that base anyway for admin type things. Yeah.
Because that's really just as important as the field staff in terms of keeping the business going.
Yeah. And I would assume that fundraising is a big part of what you need to
Always,
with
always,
the
always,
funding.
always,
So
yes.
between getting grants and donations from people, so what sort of things do you do to keep that going?
We have an appeal letter that goes out every year, which is pretty much been our,
Mhm.
I'll say, base, if you will,
Like an
for our
annual
foundation. Yeah,
appeal?
yes. And then we're doing different events. So we have a walk for hospice coming up in June.
Mhm.
One will be held down here at SUNY Adirondack. One will be
Mhm.
held up north in Saranac Lake.
Oh, good.
So again,
Yeah.
because it's such a big area, we try and
Yeah.
cover everybody in every area. So we
Yeah.
have that. There's a local motorcycle group that we're doing a motorcycle ride in
Nice.
August.
Get people
Get people
involved.
involved and out there.
Yeah.
We've had families who have been very supportive over the years. There was a family in Tupper Lake that for 11 years they held a fishing tournament that the proceeds
Mhm.
all were donated to us.
Mhm.
Long Lake used to do a polar plunge. There was a golf tournament in it was Tupper Lake as well. So
Mhm.
so it's all over the place in
Yeah.
different things we do. One of our big fundraisers is the elementary school in Tupper Lake has for the last I don't know, the students all in the month of May do different projects. Each class does different
Mhm.
things and they raise money for hospice, and we'll go up early June and we'll get all that, and
That's really
I'll come back
nice. If you
with
could get some more school
I would
or
love to.
is it
Yes,
getting the word
yes,
out, that more help like that it's such a good cause because you're funding these services for people.
right.
And what do they need to do to qualify? Is it a income level?
No, 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 no.
No,
You
it's
actually
not.
just need to have a terminal
Okay.
disease of some sort. Doesn't have to be cancer. It could be any sort of
Okay.
thing, and a prognosis of
Okay.
we get your primary care doctor, and our doctor look at all
Mhm.
the records and say, yep, this person probably is about the 6 month mark or less.
So not needs
It's
based.
not needs based at all. Not at
Okay.
all. It is only really medically based when you
Mhm.
get down to it.
Mhm.
So
Because I think at that point of your life too, it's like there are so many expenses and to have to then prove that
right.
you're
Yeah, yeah,
needy
yeah, yeah.
for
No,
it,
no,
it's
yeah.
like, yeah.
That is
So
a
that's
benefit
that's
that
kind of
is
nice.
pretty much on every insurance, and certainly it's on
Mhm.
it's on seniors because it's on Medicare.
Yeah.
The bulk of what we do is Medicare.
Yeah.
Um, but it's on most acute care assurances, like if you're working and stuff, there's probably a clause in there for hospice that'll cover it as well. So,
Mhm.
and it's, age doesn't matter either.
No, because
We've had
these things happen.
no matter what.
There's other sorts of issues that come up.
We've recently had a baby, so we've had babies
Oh,
all the way
wow.
up to I think our oldest was 106 years old, so
Must be
and
tough,
everything in between.
baby.
The younger is always it's gonna
Yeah.
be harder as the person gets younger. We've had teenagers. We've had it's just
Mhm.
it's the circumstances and good, bad, or otherwise, death doesn't
Yeah.
care about your age. These diseases don't care once it gets a hold of you. Trick is how do we give you the best quality of life we can give you in whatever time is left.
Yeah. Is it a challenge getting staff? Do you
Um
need a certain type of person for this
Yes and
kind of
no,
work?
right?
Yeah.
Some of it is the challenge of just being a very rural area. When you're starting to get into specialties like social work, like,
Yeah.
nursing, RN, LPN, um, there's not a lot of people to pick from.
Yeah.
You end up, that's a challenge.
Yeah.
Yes, there is also our staff. Generally, you're going to come to hospice because you really want to take care of people. That's what really
Calling.
it really is kind of a calling,
Yeah.
yes. And there are people that come, they say, oh, this is what I want to do. They get it, go, maybe not. And I've had people that have come went, I wasn't sure if this is what I want to do, but I love it. So it is different. It isn't as a lot of people know over the years, and I said I'm working for hospice. Oh yeah, so that's so hard. It is hard, but it's not. We're helping people enjoy life.
Yeah.
So it isn't all about just the death and dying part,
Right.
It's also there's some
The
real
living.
positivity to it. Like I said, like the fiddler example, that's pretty cool when you can do
Yeah.
that.
You're making a difference
Th-
for someone
That's
at a time when they really need it.
And what better impact can you have than that?
Right. Exactly. And for their family.
And for the family.
As much, I think that's important because sometimes they just don't know where to turn. And just to have that extra help makes such a difference.
And sometimes it's a little help that goes a long way for somebody.
Yeah.
I was all alone. We've heard this, right? I was all alone. I was getting overburdened. Then you guys came in and it was a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And some of it is just, you told me what to expect and how to deal with this and so, they're very happy with that.
Yeah.
And that makes me very happy that they've honored us with, allowing us to be on this journey with them.
Yes, that's an amazing service. So you have been executive director since 2017?
Correct.
Early 2017, so nearly 10 years.
Almost 10 years.
Were you involved with High Peaks before that?
Yes, I actually was on the board of
You were on the
directors
board. Okay.
just prior to that. So,
Okay.
and the executive director at the time was having a health issue, and
Mhm.
so
Okay.
I had talked to
So you kind of helped out,
and then kind of moved into it.
went. Okay.
And then all of a sudden, 10 years goes by. Or not
Yes, right. You blink and there you are. So, but you started, so early in your career, you were working at the Pentagon.
Well, that was way back when I first started.
Seems like a
Yes.
huge shift to a nonprofit like this. So tell us a little bit about your career, your journey.
Well, I obviously was in the military at the time and served. I was a captain in the Air Force. And I was stationed at the Pentagon. I was doing, well, it wasn't called information technology at that point, but it was computer work. I was a systems analyst. We were designing systems for the different branches that were located there, mostly dealing with the reporting process that Congress.
Stuff that even the military has to do.
Yeah, everybody has to do it. Exactly right. Exactly right. From there, I went to Corning Incorporated doing pretty much the same thing. It was systems analyst work, is designing systems.
At a time when things were really changing significantly, I'd say, right?
Yes,
because I was doing IT stuff back in those days as well. So I know going from big mainframe computers to desktop computers and networks.
And that was one of the things probably because of the timing where it was, I knew a lot about the early PCs. So I was doing a lot of the design stuff on that.
I mean, because the internet started with the military, right?
Yep.
So in Corning, I would expect would be quite high tech.
It was very high tech, although we still had, most people aren't going to understand this, but it was the old computer screens that were the giant screens and the keyboards were 3 inches thick so that by the end of the day, your hands were numb because of the way your angles, because there's no ergonomics at that point.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Because we didn't know. It was brand new.
We found that out the hard way.
Yeah. There was no graphical interfaces. There was no mice at that point. Everything was just keyboards.
So how did you make the transition into nonprofit?
Over time, I went from Corning Incorporated directly. I started managing in the credit union there, and I left that to start a consulting business to help managers to be better. I was asked to do some work with one of the local senior centers.
Okay.
So I ended up running the Queensbury Senior Center for a number of years. And from there, I was on boards and stuff at that point. So then the board stuff kind of led to there.
So using your skills that you built
Always.
in military and in corporate, bringing it into the nonprofit. Because like you said, you got to keep it running if you want to serve people.
So that's what it's done. And I really like the not-for-profit world very much because it is about taking care of people. I mean, that's where this is the ideal. I am making an impact. I don't obviously take care of patients directly. I don't have the certifications for that, but I get to take care of the people who do.
I was just going to say,
taking care of a lot of people. So it's kind of an expanded role. Instead of me just doing work by myself, I'm trying to keep all of the people, the group of people doing it so that they can.
Yeah. And you were on the board, but now the board, you report to the board.
Yeah.
So you got to keep the board happy and you got to have a good board. So I saw that you guys were looking to get some more board members.
Yes, because as happens over time, things ebb and flow and everything. And we recently, just a couple of people, life circumstances, right? So they couldn't be on the board for whatever, their personal reasons. So we're like, yes, we're looking for board members. We'd love to have.
Is there any particular skill sets you're needing at the moment?
You can always, to have people who understand business would be helpful, right? Because that's one of we have people that work in business, obviously. We currently don't have any board members who are business owners. So that's a slightly different mindset of how that operates. So that would be kind of handy. Somebody that understands finances is always, we don't have anybody that works in the financial world right now. So something like that. We have numerous medical people, although if there's medical people that are interested, certainly would talk to them. That's not going to turn them away because there's a lot of what the board has to look at when it comes to policies and stuff that are medically based. I remember when I was on the board, we were at one quality meeting and there was a policy that came up. It was fully medical, and the other board member over there, he was a lawyer, and the doctor who normally was there wasn't there. And they're like, well, we can't make a decision on this. We're not medical. We don't know this, right?
Yeah.
So it's good. You do need to have that. Yeah. It's just that breadth of what we're looking for. All the skills, right? Yeah. Obviously, needs to be somebody who wants to be a part of a group that really wants to help people. location-wise, it's not a big deal. We have board members who live in Saranac Lake, Tupper Lake, Maroon Lake, so everything north.
Okay.
Down here, we
Yeah.
Queensbury, Glens Falls.
So
Falls.
you've already
So-
got a good base,
Yeah.
but you just need a couple more.
It's always good to have a few more, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what happens over the course of
Mhm.
time. And we have it set up that it's three-year terms. We ask for a 3-year commitment. Then it
Okay.
can be renewed 3 times after 9 years. It's like, okay, you don't have to keep doing
It's
this
forever. So people know at least.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a forever thing.
Mhm.
And if anybody's interested, they can always, set up something. I'm happy to go talk to people
Mhm.
about what we do and all the little things that the board has to deal
Yeah,
with.
just have a conversation.
Yeah, just have a conversation.
See
You should never know where it's
if
going to
it's
go.
a fit.
Yeah.
Both ways. And volunteers. So you say you have some volunteers helping you out. What sort of things would you be looking for in a volunteer?
That runs quite the gambit as well. Our volunteers, interestingly enough, hospice it's the only field that I know of that we are mandated by regulation to have 5% of our workforce be volunteers.
Oh, really?
Yes. And so what they can do, you don't have to have a licensure in anything in particular. A lot of the stuff that a volunteer can do in a home, they could go in, maybe a family needs them to do the dishes or something like that, or they sit with a loved one, they may play checkers or games with them or read. Sometimes it's just our volunteer will go in so that the caregiver, the loved one, can actually run out and do some personal things, shopping or whatever. So some of it is that. Some of it is we have a program that tries to help with, you have pets at home, so we can come in and do the dog walking, that type thing. So little things like that. Of course, we always have things around the office that need to be done. We have our admissions bags. We have volunteers who make sure we have plenty of them available so that, when the staff needs to, we got this admission to do, they come in and grab a bag. They don't have to come in and go, I got to put all this together. It's already set. Go. We have volunteers who make lap blankets. Those go in our admission bag so that, that's a nice thing to have. It's not a requirement, but it's a nice thing to have.
So they knit,
these
crochet,
it's like a mini Afghan type thing, right? We have a volunteer who recently she was makes adult clothes protective. It's like an adult bib type thing, because that becomes an issue, right?
Especially if you're lying.
Exactly. So it's really kind of neat where the people come from and, what they do for us. And that, again, the age requirement for that is older than 18, but short of that, and you can give 5 minutes or give 5 hours, and it's kind of up to the person. We do have a very extensive training program to go through for a volunteer because the Medicare does consider them, an integral part of our staff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of requirements that are on the volunteers that are very similar to staff, but we work through all that.
You've got a program in place.
We have a program in place. We work with them all the time. We just, because April is Volunteer Recognition Month, and we just held 2 volunteer recognition events, one for our group down there in the South and one for the group in the North, to thank them for all the work that they do. Because it's really important. Yes, it is.
Yeah. That's an important part of keeping everything going. And then they probably help with fundraising events too.
They help with fundraising events. Other things. It's maybe somebody who's a beautician, because sometimes going in and cutting hair or, things like that.
Yeah.
So there's little things like that we can add in. If we have a volunteer who can do it, we can offer it.
Yeah.
If we don't, then at that particular time, we're not offering it, obviously. But, and for fundraising events, like when we do the tabletop events at health fairs and stuff, volunteers will help man that and talk about
hospice. So do you do a lot of tabling?
Oh, all the time.
So for awareness, because I've got to know about High Peaks Hospice through your staff coming to the ARCC events.
Right.
So awareness
is
huge. Yeah.
And I think along with awareness, I think another big thing for people to remember is, just because you're talking about hospice and end of life doesn't mean it's going to come any faster. There is nothing.
Do you think people are leery of talking about it?
Absolutely. I have seen that. I have seen where we'll be at a health fair and people become oh, don't want to talk to that. I'm not ready for that yet. I get that you're not ready for it. Learn about it so that if the time comes when you are ready, you'll know about it and you won't be scared about it.
That's a good message to have out there, because I think I probably would have been a bit like that too. Like, I don't have any elderly relatives or, that I don't. But you just happen to have people working that were coming to the mixers.
So you just strike up a conversation.
So that's how I knew it's not a place. It's a service. And
it's not all about death and dying. It's actually about living.
Yeah.
It's not so bad.
It's not so bad. So for more information, people can go to your website.
Go to the website, highpeakshospice.org, or they can call 518-891. We can send out information packets. We can set up meetings to talk about it. If you have a loved one you think might be available, you can actually make a referral. What happens in that case is the referral will come in, then we will contact the doctors and we'll get all the information that we can get to make sure if they're qualified or not, and let you know.
I'm sure your website has all sorts of information if people just want to get a little feel for what you do, and then can get in touch if they feel that they might.
Absolutely. So.
Or want to get involved, if want to donate money, if want to volunteer for something.
If they want to stop by the office just to say hello and just say, I'm just kind of wondering about what things. Hey, come on down.
Yeah.
One of the nice things about this building is it was a home at one point. So it has that home feel to it.
Right.
So.
These conversations often begin as feature articles for the Saratoga and Glens Falls business journals. We've partnered with them to turn those printed insights into broadcast quality authority assets, allowing you to hear the person behind the business in their own words. Thank you for listening to Building Success Stories, a production of the North Country Media Network. Our mission is to document the professional legacies and success stories that drive our region forward. To discover more shows in our network, or to learn how we can help you own the conversation in your industry, visit us online at northcountry.media. I'm Ann Donnelly, and until next time, keep building your success story.